They say the woods have a memory. They say the woods have a memory, an ancient, silent witness to everything that unfolds beneath its canopy. I never believed it, not really. To me, the forest behind my childhood home was just a playground, a place of make-believe castles and imaginary beasts. But that was before the disappearances started, before the whispers, before the eighth breath. It began with small things. A squirrel, then a neighbor's cat, vanished without a trace. People shrugged it off. It's the wild, they'd say. But then old Mr. Abernathy, who walked his dog on the same trail every single morning, didn't come home. They found his dog shivering and whining at the edge of the trees, but of Mr. Abernathy there was nothing. No footprints, no signs of a struggle. Just gone. Fear, cold and sharp, began to prickle our small town. The woods, once a source of comfort and adventure, became a place of dread. Parents held their children closer. The familiar trails grew quiet, reclaimed by leaves and shadows. The police searched for weeks, their dogs barking themselves hoarse at an invisible line they refused to cross. It was as if the forest itself had erected a wall. I was a teenager then, full of that foolish bravado that makes you think you're invincible. My friends and I, we had our own theories. A bear, a sinkhole, a hermit living deep in the woods. We'd sit around campfires, trying to scare each other, but a genuine unease had settled over us. The woods were different now. They felt watchful. One evening, my friend Liam dared me. He was always the boldest. "I bet you're too scared to spend a night out there," he said, his voice laced with challenge. My pride, stupid and fragile, wouldn't let me back down. And so, armed with a flashlight, a sleeping bag, and a pocket knife that felt laughably small, I walked into the darkening forest. The first few hours were fine. I built a small fire, roasted marshmallows, and tried to pretend I was on a grand adventure. The familiar sounds of the night, the chirp of crickets, the hoot of an owl were a thin blanket of comfort. But as the fire dwindled to glowing embers, a new sound began to creep in. It was a whisper, faint like the rustling of leaves, but with a rhythm, a cadence. It sounded like breathing, a slow, deep inhale, and a long, drawn-out exhale. 1, 2, 3. I counted them, my heart starting to pound against my ribs like a trapped bird. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic and sweet. 4, 5. The whispers grew louder, swirling around me, seeming to come from every direction at once. They weren't words, not in any language I knew, but I could feel them pressing in on me, seeping into my thoughts. Images flashed in my mind, a twisted root, a moss-covered stone, the panicked eyes of a deer. It was like I was seeing the forest's memories, 6, 7. The breathing was right behind me now, a cold draft on the back of my neck. I squeezed my eyes shut, my hand clutching the useless pocket knife. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my legs were frozen, rooted to the spot like the trees around me. The forest wasn't just watching. It was aware, it was conscious, and it was hungry. A story my grandmother used to tell me surfaced in my terrified mind, an old legend about the woods. She said that the forest takes a breath every decade, and with each breath it takes something with it, a life, a soul, to add to its collection, to feed its ancient memory. People had dismissed it as a fairy tale, a way to keep kids from wandering too far. But as the seventh breath washed over me, a wave of cold dread, I knew it was real. They said the next one, the eighth breath, was different. It didn't just take you. It made you a part of it. Then, silence. Absolute, profound silence. The crickets stopped. The wind died. Even my own ragged breathing seemed to catch in my throat. The world held its breath, waiting. And then it came. The eighth breath. It wasn't a sound. It was a feeling. A pulling, a deep, primal tug from the earth itself. It was the forest inhaling, and I was what it wanted to breathe in. I felt my sense of self begin to unravel, my memories fraying at the edges. I saw my childhood home, my parents' faces, Liam's taunting smile, all of it fading, being replaced by the green and brown of the woods, the endless cycle of growth and decay. My skin prickled as if phantom roots were starting to sprout, anchoring me to the soil. My blood felt sluggish, turning to sap. Panic, pure and white-hot, finally broke the paralysis. I didn't scream. I didn't have the air. I just ran. I scrambled to my feet and sprinted, blind, through the undergrowth. Branches whipped at my face. Thorns tore at my clothes, but I didn't feel it. The only thing I felt was that immense, drawing pressure at my back, pulling me, calling me to become another forgotten memory in the heart of the woods. The whispers became a roar, a symphony of lost voices, all calling me to stay, to join them, to rest. I saw Mr. Abernathy's face, not in fear, but with a strange, placid emptiness, his eyes like dark pools of water. I saw the flash of fur from the neighbor's cat, a fleeting shadow among the trees. They were all there. They were all part of the forest now. I don't know how long I ran. It felt like an eternity. My lungs burned, my legs were jelly, but the fear of that eighth breath was a relentless fuel. And then I saw it. A faint glimmer of light through the trees. The streetlights of my town. With one last, desperate burst of energy, I broke through the tree line and collapsed onto the cold, hard asphalt of the road. I lay there, gasping, sobbing, the artificial light feeling like a shield. I turned to look back. The woods were silent and still, just a dark wall of trees under the moonlight. It looked peaceful, normal, as if nothing had happened. But I knew better. I never told anyone the full story. Who would believe me? They found me the next morning, scratched and incoherent, and assumed I'd just gotten lost and scared. Liam apologized, but he could never understand the terror in my eyes whenever I glanced towards the trees. I moved away from that town as soon as I could, but I can never truly escape it. Sometimes late at night, when the world is quiet, I can still feel it, a faint echo of that pull. And sometimes when I'm walking past a park or a garden, I swear I can hear a whisper on the wind, a slow, deep inhale, a long, drawn-out exhale. They say the woods have a memory. I know they do, because a small piece of me is still in there, a piece of my soul caught on the inhale of the eighth breath. And I know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, that one day it will try to exhale me back, or inhale the rest. The forest is patient. It has all the time in the world, and it never forgets what it has tasted. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more chills. Stay safe out there.